when she closed drop off in front of the high school. Probably not shopping so this is more the backside of the campus, but yeah. What are you doing?
It helps.
So I just want to let everyone.
I change my availability on the.
No, just leave it.
Those of you who wish to speak, if you don't know that, turn them into me. When you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is CIP.
You guys have it working now?
Yeah.
So let's do a test for anyone who's at home. Can you hear us now? Text somebody you know in
Yeah.
Chambers if you can. Yes, they can hear us. And I should give credit where credit is due. A lot of recognition was given this evening for current commissioners. It's one of our former commissioners who's listening. No problem. So you just keep on giving when you're
This is. Thank you very much.
next for public comments not on the agenda. And Harry, you also have 3
minutes, like Jim? Yes. He's here, a guy. Clocks. Crosswalk. Here. Crosswalk signal. There's a crosswalk signal. It's the button, attention, there's safe crossover. Bullets. Read it. The high school. Signal doesn't work. Doesn't work. Since at least April of 2020. So at least a year and a half. Notified staff stuff. Concerned about that. What you know about that? Technology, not exactly. Those get repaired. So what's the deal with what's needed? So teachers like me walk that. For kids, I walk that. Yeah. Work. Ask is that whatever influence anywhere, hopefully it doesn't have to become an agenda item. My position is that response to crosswalk signal not working exactly the same. It's a traffic signal. Pedestrians any different than drivers. Should get the same. I'm wrong.
Yes, for your comments. I have to do some more adjustments for those at home again. It's looking better now, but anytime if it's not, that's important. Or anyone else here from staff. I have one speaker that does not have a subject. Item on the agenda. Saeed.
Thank you. I'd like to talk about traffic.
Is it about
the issue of the
related to the Hardin?
Right next. Yes, we are affected.
So I need to ask you to make the decision. If you think it's related to Hardin, we'll have the conversation about conservation. You may speak now, and then you wait till that's up. I think it's a separate item not related to the street on the agenda. Then you speak. Wrote on your comment card. Anyone else like to? For those of you joining us on Zoom, this is our first meeting where we are not taking comments via Zoom. That's beginning of the pandemic, we have been taking public comments. I think it's under our direction and efforts. Are on Zoom right now. If you wanted to make a comment tonight, you have a couple of choices. Transportation at hosts.gov, and you email during the meeting or after the meeting, staff will get that. Our other choice is if you don't live too far away, I have a lot of speaker cards. So when we start the public, I would encourage you to stay for the staff. But after that, if you want to, don't race, follow all the traffic rules, drive slow, watch out for pedestrians at night, bicyclists may come over here and make a comment. We have a lot of public comments, and we have opportunity to do staff. And that. So I just wanted to announce that. What I wanted to announce to be honest, I made the assumption that it was pronounced Hardin because on there, but these things happen, but I don't bring in the data for it. Don't really have it. Like to volunteer, so please welcome. Pronounced. We might be able to go over this. Now, I'm not going to have either. I have to say about that. Now, the rest of this item here is what's happening. I'm a introduction. And right now, our agenda is we have an opening statement from You'll hear her public statement. On that side, anyone also have any questions? And what we'll do is we'll start public comment. Here. Plus, after we hear the public feedback, last time the commission discussed this. Sorry, I'm going from a cold, so. So I want to welcome our two new commissioners, Scott Ketka and Wilson Impulse. Also want to welcome our new existing Jardine Drive approximately 4.5 months. Since then, the city has received a significant number of emails regarding the city has hired AIM engineering consultants, Anya Amiri, licensed engineer, and we work with the city staff to bring options back to the city. Before starting her company, she worked for encourage the members of the public, even though you have comments in email, that you must speak so everyone can hear you. Also, public comments on next steps where the all everyone's comments
Also, we have all the things that are here. Wanna listen, like say, wanna share, really say. So I appreciate you all for making that. Next is this couple of options. Then after those options are discussed, we'll figure out how from there. We'll take that recommendation to one for the one improvements will be made. That's the time. First, however, here in the back, one of our staff people, suggestion. Otherwise, we're going to start with public comments. Now, I did receive special I want to see a lot of written comments on this. Appreciate everyone taking the time to do that. Tremendously.
one of the social if you want to point up name. I think we're gonna try to go over the 30 minutes per person. I will ask you. Have a lot of people tonight, so we can make people. Somebody has already said something. Necessary. I think we'll also have tonight's meeting. No.
Well, Cousins, I'm a 12th grader at Los Altos High School. I speak for students of not only Los Altos High School, but the other schools community. Students as a group are dramatically underrepresented in which frankly, affects them. There are only so many people who live on Jordan. They are perhaps very impacted by this project, but every single student who goes to Los Altos High School is impacted by this project, regardless of where they live. I have made an effort to collect student opinion on this topic particularly, and I find that overwhelmingly, student body supports of structural facilities. Jordan is ground zero for that exact debate. Now, I will say something that I think probably every single person who's there are issues with the current community. But I think I will say as a student, perhaps not going forth from after me, that issues with Jordan are not traffic issues. And they are not issues that can be solved by reverting to a previous community. And in fact, the skeleton of the current Jordan is actually dramatic improvement theoretically as compared to the systems that exist. So, existence of separated bike lane is frankly, I think, a larger step forward than I even would have expected in someone in bicycle infrastructure. And while as other people after me will speak to issues with the particular way that hold on the fact that creating, as I'm sure our civil engineer knows, real functional infrastructure follows international examples. Really something to be proud of. Now, I think one problem with this situation is that our taking have a protected bike lane parking. And I think that we really have to consider whether people deserve to park on the street, whether pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers deserve to travel in both directions safely on this road.
And thank you. Now, on your way over, then let's see the next couple names. I'm just telling you. on Station 2 now. Harwell.
Give me the opportunity to speak. I'm saying that I want to bring to your attention today is really traffic on an issue. This is nothing new. Today is high school, very a large part of the street, and we have been experiencing speeding drivers on occasion, mostly and that they are coming late at night or even during the day, and we have that also what has been added to this issue is the current configuration of browsers. Traffic, pedestrian traffic, in my opinion, is one of the ridiculous the medium rush hour. And all the traffic is routed through the pathway from Alicia Bay and both sides, and I'm sure in dark that we have numerous number of users that see the hours of take clearly. I don't blame it on parents because they're coming to drop their. They have to really, there's no way to go to call that way. They have to come to the office and make a U-turn. Also every morning, so I think I have been actually almost a couple of times. My opinion, this is an accident that happened. My request is, you're putting a traffic plan together. We need to have really a comprehensive plan. How to get traffic of the Jordan resolved on the Alicia Bay. And a comprehensive plan that makes all these streets around the high school. And I'm sure you are aware, there has been $1,500 million investment in the high school, but I think the traffic has been very small.
Yep. No, that's fine. David, you're next. You come up now.
Several of us are speaking together. Anthony Heather. This is also been submitted better. It's David Sauerhat. I've done this for 2019. Involvement with the Garden Drive issue came out. I and my neighbors were talking. Center of conversation. Messages and misses. Knowing what we knew, never lived with ourselves. Didn't stand by quietly. And like geography, biker, sport biker, exercise, community, it's green, community. That the biking is. First moved in on no park was added. And then construction projects. I look at the current design in a matter of time. Traffic, good bike lane. Its issues is plus pedestrian walking. No parking, there's no drop off. Schools will be closed and blocked common turnout drop off. Garden. 5. Street traffic, dedicated bike lane, parking and drop off, plus a short sidewalk limited to the length of the street. Very poorly contains pedestrian walking. Many. Bike lane and drop. One. Yeah. Tries to narrowed. Shoulders have been eliminated. Does not work. By parking and drop off is not allowed on Almond. Also, here the problem is by no means limited to on the here where the school ends.
Elder Kevin, also there.
Shoulder and the narrow westbound lane. Going on the south side of your north side of the third lane is very narrow and greater danger to get. Should have Center Street. Area is very near. Laboratory Park, Center Street drop off means the students leaving cars walking right into
Drivers are routinely those making words. And the poor visibility now, very dangerous. So doing they're forced to just shoot in the lanes. My garbage day. Drive home, less place to walk.
It's actually very helpful and organized. Also follow up. gonna note, this is on the back of your speaker card. They can follow up on them. Appreciate that, and I'm sure that it'll also talk to engineering staff, and you may additionally hear from the why those are there. Johnson, you are next. Maybe you're
that yellow. That's over prioritize the drop off. So, speedy reminder with the success. State of the art practice. Immediately be appropriate. Learning. Absolutely. Crosswalks, up yellow line, sideline. Up line.
No. Your comments are important. What I will ask. No, can stop. by Anita Inander.
Vehicles. Where's that quote?
Bring up.
Former name just fade away and not. Raceway, 45 others. And all that. What's this? I didn't do it all. Yeah. Both had cross streets. Back up the limit line and then go back up east. Almost in east. Up the straight line and carve out a corner a little bit more. Is that no longer come up to the top, see out my body. They can't see us. People are parking. That double set of lines is where they should park again on the corner. People who were there. Did you think as long as I'm inside those lines, I'm okay? I'm like, oh God, Jesus. So you have a problem with also so this is a 120-degree angle. Southbound on Jordan, and you want to turn on to 180. What happens is you come up, speed, slow down, and you have to go farther on Jordan, or you can initiate the traffic. You have to, and you were accelerating away from the stop sign. Or you were slowing down. Just fast come off the stop sign. You were trying to make not this is like geometry. This doesn't quickly swipes. Fundamental problem. Some of the worst offenders are the question. That's not a problem. Well, do appreciate that you're going to get down in the weeds. Work for it. It's a few people. Hopefully all of your intelligence.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna just let everyone in the audience know. Got a little extra time because I forgot the timer when you started, but thank you, Madam Chair, for the comments, and just to let you know and to let everyone else know, we received your written comments from former Mayor and Amber, as well as from many other residents. On the next are we have Myrna Byrne. It's Philo Snow. Anything later, you can email that. Anything you want to say? Email that. Next is Nancy Seaman. Nancy. Nice to see you. At our meeting many times already.
there for there are all of us, are safe in a number of ways. Phosphorus. So, a couple questions. First is, how did this happen? Second is, what can we do about it? How did this happen? Why was flawed? Well, going forward, process. Process. It's 5 different of the high school of residents.
Purpose. Go on, take it. Yeah, I didn't have you come up. The last with her. What I will have you do is I'll have to speak about the car. You can
The one thing I want to bring up Send a letter. God love you. Goal is God love you.
Oh, is anyone else after that? Line up there.
My kids. Need you to part out for drop off. Everything, not part, everything. Part of the purpose of this all on our way. It's not just on time. Some park in the middle of the street. To turn or park at garden trying to turn, and nobody can turn because there's such a garden. So they're just lined up down all of our streets on shore, and they can't wait, or they don't want to wait, or the bell's about to ring because and they jump out and we block our driveway. We ask our driveway. So dangerous on our street, and walk every day. Walk all the way around the tunnel. We're on the road that we're on all the way down Garden. It happens every day out there. Get part of last by Dylan several times. Last year before, and we were auditing many things. We were on Garden over the summer. Not a lot of input from neighbors or anybody else, and the problems that we observed, and everybody went down and handed in our is frustration. Putting it on us, not trying to fight parking problem. School made deals with people around. Yeah, given their school, their parking, everything else, and I feel like we had this discussion over 10 years ago. And then just ask if you have first or friends, someone else. Right. Now there's some of you were one of these very personal. The common carding is 224. A very good job. Eating good food. Everybody's customizing their restaurant.
This is an important meeting to get everybody's feedback, so that's what our goal is tonight.
It's so nice.
I want to open up questions for maybe what you can do is, and to ask, but then I get 100 questions. So what I will tell you is this time, comments, there were a couple people meeting. Feels like time spoke, so we have one. Writes his question on a piece of paper and passes it to you. You come up and read it. That would be a workaround. We're in the business tonight of making everyone heard. So, but I think, but we do have to respect the process. Okay. The way, if somebody else who can answer the question, and think for that. Think for that. And I'll let everyone know next time when you come to a meeting, and Nancy's been at our meetings before, we're going to be a little more formal. It's a night of hearing, so I want to make sure. No, we're not able to do that. Thank you. Everyone, it's not a time of.
The question is, how did we get there? Meaning, what we heard on our.
Thing we're going to do is things that we heard and anything else that we heard. We give staff the opportunity to answer any of them or say anything they want, and that's up to them on how they want to take these things on. You know, one of the things that I heard was this. One of the is, I don't know, was the cost. I want to ask that as a question. Staff the opportunity if they choose to respond to that and to the question they just heard, and any other questions they heard or any other things they want. Really can't have. I'm sorry, sir. Sir, I'm sorry. Comments on this. The item will. Anything else?
Will be the validate what
Or you cannot talk now. Public comments are closed now, and I appreciate all the comments that we've received from everyone. This is a formal process. You have to follow. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do is I think I understood that so much of a school community, whether here tonight or online on Zoom, I don't really know. But in previous work around the high school, the former vice principal Galen Rosenberg participated in our meetings. We gave some flexibility to do that. So if there's someone here from the school community, if they would like to introduce themselves or say any words, they are welcome to do that this evening. And I appreciate you coming forward.
Eric Mihara, I am the assistant principal for Alpha High School. I took over for David Rosenberg, who I would say that the father has been doing that since 5. I get that. But I do want to make sure that as a high school, our job is to protect students. Most of our students know your students to do this. So I want to say that whatever it is that we do, and I think the idea of having some kind of in the regulations, finding what the next steps are going to be. Our commitment is said, help. Welcome. Worked out my heart. That's really the best. But I believe that it's important that we
You saying that, and we and how you would like to. Back to the commission and what's going on around if you have any questions. D is in direction. We are going to do that now, and you're welcome to stay people.
Also, like the map and all this.
I appreciate the detail with it. I think, yeah, or I think it was very nice. I think there's some recommendations. There's the bigger picture process. Is for the or the hearing from the staff. Thank you so much. That everybody wants to say. So nothing that I want to say is look at the process. I think the school involves the process. Residents in the area, but has to there's the confusion between parking and loading zones versus drop-off zones. I think it's just a first step. Go for good at it on and yeah, everything everyone said I've seen your vehicles and doing frequent turns, pedal and got someone up twice this corner. It's very little, but now it's paralyzed.
Currently served in the morning drop off having happened. And I put something back. Some residents. Wow. Hearing residents. If we were talking, fine. Number one, gender affection. For the team.
So Captain Kraus's office PD, we had a recommendation at the traffic unit that we want to post the parking in that area right now because there is no signage in each. There is a curve there actually. That I visually see not supposed to park there. Do then they will allow us to sit and start that process. Parker. So there's Tommy Kirkland. Ones that are there. First, we don't have that curve. Other things like be better than a car there. We can't see down. Other thing that I thought of when I read one of the written comments, and I think my memory when one of the speaks. Guys are always a challenge. You know, the problem carrying crossing guards. Jobs are available to anyone who applies, and they're going to hire.
definitely make everybody happy. Your comment. And I think what we have sort of said that this timeline is going to take a while. I will again emphasize there are short-term things. And in terms of crossing guards, that I'm gonna at Homestead. Are those two? Isn't there there? Or Homestead High School. So I think it's something in the short term. Stories like road or it might anybody else thinks they have ideas. Why is that? A lot of different, but a lot of work. And now I'm going to move into line. Awesome. Fine. Bring that to the community. Right? Let all of you know our meetings are so January is the target, and then maybe another follow-on meeting something after that. Doing that, commission and the community, you're going to rework it to final draft. Or determine that that's final draft. And then you're doing that final draft. Oh. And you don't have, you're targeting January bringing it, and you don't know what feedback you're going to do, right? So you don't know how much work. But you do know you want to put this in this. If needed, just and I also after this project wants to time, then final feedback and recommendation to the council agenda. Money for the project. I'm not really just trying to get the vendor and get the work done. I'm sorry, sir. We just can't. Sir, I'm sorry. We cannot take a comment. I'm sorry. We just cannot take a government, sir.
When we go this time around, back different. I do want to mention that although the focus is not part of mediation, might be a part of a bigger separate project. So the goal is to use this as a first starting cover, see why there's and the master plan has outlined a lot of other immediately trying to align this following rules. Adding into this.
Now is and we're going to break. All are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. Also, go home. Thanks everyone for who's online for bearing with us during our long recess. There was a lot of residents who took the opportunity to talk with staff and consultants, along with some of the commissioners who were here. Now let's move on to our next items. Before we do that, we need a quorum. Should we don't have
That's true. Yes, sorry.
That's why
Sorry, I'm learning.
That's why I was getting up so early from this conversation.
Sorry.
You can ask that question when we come to the commission.
There we go.
That's okay. That's okay. All right, now we're all back. And we're gonna resume the meeting, and we are on item number 2. It's 8:30, so about that. Item number 2 is the meeting calendar for 2024. There's a copy of this in our packet.
Yeah.
Or comment on that.
Basically, the main thing is we don't have a meetings on July and December, so meetings here now. That's basically the last Wednesday, July.
Have any questions? Public comment on this? None. November meeting, the day before Thanksgiving. I don't know that meeting. Find an alternative date and maybe come back in January with alternative date. So we're going to close item number 2 and we're going to move to item number 3 is the commission updates.
Yes, so I'll go quick. Basically, some updates. Some updates. See. Tuesday from 7 to 7, so we have 7. Monthly for the meetings, we have 12, now it's 10. And it basically states what the should do. Yeah, these are all in the handbook. I'm just advise and implementation device all under the CSMP. You provide declaration of council and declaration of the policy. Serve as a forum for community input and engagement and perform public activities. Right person for meeting to take place. Commissioners must attend 75% of regularly scheduled meetings. Commissioners may say no more than 20% of meetings remotely. I think that remotely, I think there's a special thing you have to do. I mean, and it's a process. So if you're planning to do it remotely, you gotta let us know ahead of time, right? It's a process. So, you know, any questions on that? We could, putting it all together. Chair must ask Commissioner participating via teleconference to confirm that teleconference location is properly noticed. From state law, the teleconference location accessible to members of the public, and whether anyone is present in the teleconference location besides the members. So I guess we're going to tell that that's what basically it says. So you're going to have accessible to anything. Recording. I'd work by approval for the council in the first quarter of each calendar year, so that's definitely worked on. Commissions provide an annual plan to council at joint meeting, which is a board meeting in we're still scheduling it. I think it might be in March.
Not yet. You can bring slides back up.
Changes that ad hoc subcommittees. Election of chair and vice chair. Part posting, meeting public, staff, support board minutes. That's a specific topic. Not be an area of continuing jurisdiction. Not be established in multiple years. Support findings out to full commission. And commissioners can only serve on one subcommittee. Motion establishment is doing that the ad hoc subcommittee by members of the commission establishment. That's the form of the commission. Automatically terminate when the final report is given to the commission or when the time frame is established. The commission. Not use reestablishment of advisory nature. Liaisons. Liaison amendment. No longer required at every meeting. Council meeting will meet with the commission chair, staff liaison once per year at a minimum of all at a joint meeting. Council liaison should not direct perceived conflict of interest. The perceived conflict of interest with commission may arise from personal relationships, interests, and bodies or boards that have shared or overlapped jurisdiction as those under board member appears that must notify the commission must discussion. We should all seek out advice from city attorney or the home. Compatible activities. For state law, a public official, including commissioners, do not engage in any activity for compensation that is inconsistent, incompatible, or in conflict with official duties. It is ultimately the responsibility of the commission member
identify whether there be engaging in frequent activities or other pursuits. The attorney should be consulted as early as possible in any matters regarding incompatible activities or pursuits. Election of chair and vice chair. Commission appoints chair and vice chair annually and at the first meeting in October. No member of a commission may serve consecutive terms as chair, and it must change. Summary, again, we didn't have one in October. The schedule. Chair and vice chair election. Meetings. Not on the agenda.
So first, it's gonna ask questions. He can go get the answers.
Let me ask the question. Just trying to clarify the timeline.
Like in January, this item will be on our agenda to create our plan, and we will be ready to take to the joint meeting council whenever that meeting is going to happen. Right now, they're targeting February or March. What I heard some groups in February, some in March. That's all to be.
What's really interesting is we have a second meeting between the fourth one and another.
The request so in March instead of February, we can give that request to staff. Doesn't mean they have to honor it, but we can give that request. We will go in March. Yes.
Not this.
Just I'm gonna before staff answers, I'm gonna say something. I'm not sure I ever heard a motion to do anything. I heard an idea, but I didn't hear an actual motion. That's the one part of it. And now the other question is, what is the process? The process to form a subcommittee, and what is that?
slides. So
I think just procedurally, we decide, anytime we want to form an ad hoc, I don't know what it's meant exclusively on the agenda. We have to have possible formation of subcommittee,
yes.
or there's items. I think in the past we've formed subcommittees with when we had the item on the agenda, we formed it within that, or we've in one of the bottom ones. I don't remember if commissioner reports and comments or requests items. We formed them within that. We don't have a lot of subcommittees. So I think the concern here is if we actually want to put them together, it
should be a discussion item.
Has to be listed as a separate discussion.
Or you have a motion.
Not down. That was one of the two ways we did it. And then another way that we did it in the past, down in the bottom of the agenda, when we had either commissioners' reports and comments or requests for future potential items. We've done it in there. We haven't ever had on our agenda consider forming an ad hoc subcommittee for this. We've done it in there.
It's related to a discussion item
or it's down in the bottom. And what I would say for you when you see clarity, our commission historically has never had that. Having, if we're allowed, having the flexibility to form them in a meeting. For example, in January, if you decide or know that there's desire for an ad hoc subcommittee for Hardin or could we just form one even if it's not on our agenda? Or tonight, if the commission and staff agree, hey, let's put some people together to work on the work plan, could we just form it even though it's not listed on
Good establish an ad hoc. Topic of the formation of the ad hoc.
So this is going to require a lot of partnership with the chair and the vice chair and the staff, particularly, especially when we only meet once a month. And sometimes
we're not meeting next month.
Yeah, we're not meeting next month. No, it never prohibits, just to say to commissioners, as long as you comply by the Brown Act, we're not prohibited from to another member of this commission outside of the meeting.
I think that was two. Oh yeah, thanks. If it's not possible, still advantage.
What I want to do is I want to make sure we're anchored in the commission right now, and I think you're starting to talk about specific. So let's bring the specificity into requests for future potential items, and then we will talk about that specificity later. Using these as examples of this handbook is great. Okay. She wrote today and I can't read it yet. And we had a big crowd, and it's like, what am I doing? So I wanted to comment on, it says in the commission handbook that you have a conflict of interest. I can't remember exactly the words, but really in the past, when you get the Brown Act training, they're saying if there's something 500 feet of your house. So what I will tell you that I discovered throughout the process is, while that's a general rule, there are some exceptions to that rule. You should contact staff, the city attorney. And I will say that there was a time when the city attorney told me that I could participate because the project was a maintenance project. Maintenance projects were allowed to participate. So if there's a project in 500 feet of your house, I suggest go to staff and get discussions. Probably can choose to recuse any time you want. I will say that I was also at a school board meeting once, but he refused because, like, oh, my friend works at that company and they wanted to hand it their facility. It was a very tough decision. The room had hundreds of people cameras there, and on the commission, our job is also to participate in decisions. So if you are not required to recuse, if you're thinking of recusing, think it over, because there's this perceived conflict notion, and then there's also this responsibility. I can't tell you what to do, but go to them. I have a question about the ad hoc. Additional question about the ad hoc subcommittees. It talks about continuing jurisdiction. So it sounds like if nobody in this room knows, except maybe our member of the public, then maybe we can come back. What does continuing jurisdiction is?
Okay. I think what it is, and again, the idea is one thing, finish it.
Heard from a member of the public. Yes.
I'm not supposed to know this stuff.
But I think coming back with the and maybe in the future it's worth defining that. Yes, you can. My understanding is those are not ad hoc subcommittees, and we are not, and the commission is not forming those groups. And as far as I'm aware, there's only one of those groups in existence. And then a second one kind of forms annually. So there is a Safe Routes to School group that Andrian hosts. The commission has historically had two members who volunteered. And I think that's valuable because the school community can representatives from that union commission participation in everything. and making sure. I don't think that's an act. And then the other one that kind of tends to pop up every year. You often have and many years ago when I first joined, I come on once. Now having other community volunteers, there's a couple nonprofits involved. There's a business, the bicycle outfitter on Loyola Corners is involved. Seatbelts to Downtown is involved. Having some other people involved actually splits and gives a bigger event. So I think this approach is very valuable. Representative to the Tioga Valley Transportation. And there was another group, the Santa Clara County. Yes. See a VPAC one is a 2-year term. Other stuff we can look at. The other thing that I noted down is so in the section that talks about considering of agenda items, at the top of page 11, says that a change in order to the agenda items requires vote of the commission to have a majority to change what order we hear the agenda items in. There's another place in the packet before this, but I didn't write it down because I didn't know I was going to find it. And then I got to the top of page 11. I was like, this contradicts something I previously read. There's another place that says you can either have a vote of the commission or the chair can make the change. What is the process one of them, or is it both of them that are allowed? And I will also say, in my 5 years on here, we changed. I get to follow what it says. Where there's flexibility in any opportunity. What I tell you substitute with me. They're not primary. So I think tension is not for us to want to look at that. Tension is, we think there's a meeting, we think there's a meeting, we go for the meeting. That's really, I think, our I see. What the species, we're not going to take whatever. And I think a lot of other commissions have operated their you want to know that it's actually the biggest thing of all. We actually have 2 members of this committee as members of the people may not be able to come in person. Could be a number of reasons. I have urgent childcare. I have a sick kid. I'm sick myself. I have to go on a business trip. I have a family event out of town. On and on and on. And when we were allowed to attend on Zoom, we had a lot of this flexibility. And I think our meetings were very productive. And I actually think we were very productive in getting feedback from the audience. And our agenda topics are, people cannot make public comments on the agenda outside of the scope of our charter of transportation. So you know, we never had an experience. So I feel it's unfortunate that we don't get to have. In terms of our members, in the handbook, it does say that they can participate online. And I think I'm not picking up.
Yeah.
It is a really complicated meeting. I'm the chair of the weekly and VPAC. Allowing people to participate remotely is really complicated. They have I can share it. They have their board office has an ethics scheme how this all works. But I shared it with John Maginot once.
But I do have what needs to be done.
Okay, that's good. Because as I understand, the state, there was an assembly bill and then it was passed by the legislature and the governor signed it. There is ability to participate remotely, but it has a lot of rules. There are a couple of different categories of how you can participate. One is this 20% of the meetings, and if you let people know in advance, and it becomes part of the agenda, and then you have to post your address, and you have to welcome members of the public to your address, and you have to disclose, is there anybody over 18 present with you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's a very formal process that needs to be done in advance. Then there's another process. It's like, I got sick yesterday and I can't come today. And you get a small amount of meetings through the year where you're allowed to don't have to invite members of the you have to say, you have to give a reason or something. It's a very complicated kind of thing. And then in one of these processes, the commission has to vote to allow someone to be in. In another one, they don't. And then we always have to have a quorum. So don't get wild ideas that you're going to be participating remotely all the time, because that's not happening. That's not happening. And the final word I'll have on this is we because I think everybody. The other thing is commission handbook asks, you know, you're going to be absent, try to let the staff know. Do your best on this. If you're thinking you might be absent, you know, let them know, as long as it's a good probability. But if you get sick, you don't know 2 weeks in advance, and if you know 2 weeks in advance, you could, and we're then going to have a lot of concern about you. And of course, we have concern about you when you got sick yesterday or a couple days ago. But there's going to be some last minute things, or something like that. Stay in touch with Art. You're welcome to copy the chair. Logistical things you can share. We'll talk a lot about details of an agenda item unless you're sure that you're in a brown act. That person, logistics. So you should definitely go to Art. What Art and I saw today is we saw some we knew of one absence in advance, and a couple more just came up in our class yesterday, and another one today, and so it was like, you guys got an email saying, here, because a bunch of other residents are coming and we need you here. So it's important that we do that. Our commission has often problem with the forum. The only time I've seen us have a problem with the forum is like me with my attention, and then especially if they got changed, but they were just on a different night, and it was like when I was available. The other time that we've seen us have problems with the forum, why we don't have a meeting. It's irritation for some people. So that's the one we should start looking ahead really early. In case if it has to not happen. And then we're gonna look to staff and say, hey, can you sit down, or do we have to look down on what happens in that circumstance is you elect somebody. I think the official term is chair pro tem. Is that so what happens then is the people who are present, and it has to be a majority of the commission, elect a temporary chair for just, again, something that we haven't employed very often, but in the last 5 years, I only recall it being done once. That was like earlier this year when there was a meeting with the planning commission, and then a big power outage, and then the date of the commission meeting got changed, and nobody checked if we were available or not. Staff, and then they picked another date, and it was like, I don't know if you have a quorum, guys. And a quorum was found, luckily, but then they had to elect a chair. So there's a I think we had clarity on the definition of a continuing jurisdiction. What's the detailed process for remote attending the meeting, and confirmation on these ad hoc subjects. For commissioners who weren't able to attend as a commissioner tonight, have questions, you can email staff. And I think Art sent us something. He wants us to sign that we received this. To December 1st.
I'll send a reminder.
Yes, so that's done online, and you have to spend a minimum amount of time on it. And you have to, when you finish, you have to get a certificate. You have to send that certificate. Last time we there was a lot of changes we didn't get reminders on ours like we got it, and mine, and actually you don't have mine, let me know.
I'll check with Matt.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have to.
Yeah, do that, and don't just send out a general reminder.
Exactly.
Send, if you haven't sent it, send it. Send a I haven't gotten help.
Okay. So I don't need to. I don't need to send it. Okay.
You don't need to do that.
Great.
Thank you.
You did get your.
Now we're going to move to bidding number 4. I'm going to be the chair. I know we have 2 new people, and they don't know how much of an honor it was. And it was the chair almost 2 years. I learned a lot. My predecessor. Responsibility, you know, to visit the guidance. Oh, and also to staff. And that's an important job. And I think we are here to partner with staff. But I don't see our commission as a rubber stamp. Take your feedback, the feedback seriously, because as you see, there's some residents who everybody touches them every day. Get very engaged in it. A couple of years later, and there might be I think our other role perfect, and a resident who wasn't here before will show up. Somebody might not like something and take it to council, but that stuff happens and it's part of the process. Doesn't matter. We're proposing as the community support. And that's what we're trying to achieve today. think and also say, and even the vice chair is this is not just a management meeting. This is a goal for our commission throughout this meeting, but also representing appropriate outside of this meeting. And besides leading this meeting, I want to talk a little bit about what else the vice chair do. And I think of the vice chair role as backup. And do something with those chairs there. And I also see the vice chair role as around. And given that we have to change the chair, this is something even more important. So in terms of the role, besides leading the meeting, I think working also with staff is really important. The chair and vice chair have for at least meeting once the commission meeting in advance, and they have discussions about what's going on. That's an important being in on top of your I also see a role as chair is you have one member from city council systems. Typically do this in December. I should see. So we'll see who's assigned our liaison, but I think if they come up, if there's things that come up or other things, stay in touch with your, get to know your council liaison and stay in touch with them. Because councils are bosses. That's our connection to our bosses. So when you mentioned in an item that this commission has heard or is in our jurisdiction goes with expected whether to the council meeting she has whatever was the majority. Agendas every 2 weeks to see. That's the things I wanted to say. I want to give the vice chair opportunity. You to have for a lot of things going on in this room, including technology challenges, and I forgot to do that. So I'm going to end my duty as chair saying I apologize. I made a mistake, and maybe since we have a couple commissioners meeting and the next chair takes over. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Thank you for saying that. No, as you saw, we had people, people in this commission who are still helping us. So I think, chair if they need. I'm here, we have to follow the Brown Act, but I'm also here for well. Longer than thought on this item, and I think we'll see public comments now. So now I'm gonna turn it over to staff. I would like to nominate Suresh to be the chief.
So is there
no, I don't think you have to do a second. I think Suresh has to accept the nomination. I don't need a second. Yeah, there's no motion.
Ask. You accept it? Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't say commission. Commission memo.
Vice Chair.
Vice Chair.
And then you have to take everybody's vote.
I think that's
Okay. Okay, great. So they're not participating as members of the commission. So they get marked, their vote gets marked as absent. But we have a majority. And forum, and I know, having worked with all the other commissioners, so I would like to nominate Vice Chair, whether because he's not here attending as a commission member this evening. I propose vote on the Vice Chair until the next meeting. So I'm going to abstain from the vote. I don't know what everybody else is. But, so we might not have a majority to do that tonight. Just to be clear on the process, there was no, I don't think we actually voted on, there was nothing to vote on. I think we're all just telling you if there's a vote, we're all going to abstain, so there's really no vice chair.
Exactly.
I don't know, Art or Ida, if you want to do. But what I will tell you, I got elected the year I got elected vice chair, which is we went 3 months. Until the commissioner committee was a majority elect. At that point, in those times, I think the current chair, because it was a chair, we could chair continue. Current vice chair has become the chair, so I don't know if that means the vice chair. I don't have one. It's not a chair pro tem. Motion and a second. Everyone who says yes to that, say aye and raise your hand. 0, 3 absences. Yeah. The vote on vice chair to our next meeting. Additions to our new chair, and I'm not the chair anymore.
I'm gonna make a speech. We have the agenda item. Any commissioner reports?
I just have a couple. So, 2 things. Number 1, I attended a meeting that was hosted by State Senator saw staff there as well. I'll let them give an update on that. From my perspective, I did make a comment that was consistent with what this commission has discussed. Plans for the bike right, and something else that was discussed by this commission. Other updates I have. Oh, and I'll just also say about that. The second thing I wanted to update on is the BTA meeting. The very things that are coming to my mind. BTA has in the process of work. Send it out, but then there's no. The other thing that's happening is the BTA is working on the Valley Transportation Fund. being at our most recent agendas, they're starting to identify some of that we're looking in this quite a few from mountains. Have to be large projects, but they're and there is a timeline. I come back to the, and after that it goes to the UTV. The process is, remember, the public doesn't on the well no, I'll state that back. One of the processes on the for jurisdictions. What to see on there, the sort of criteria. Decided if it's another way that projects can go on. Put them on there. So the project, one of the projects that's most relevant is what needs to be discussed. That because you're leading there, it makes you eligible for don't know. And then the other thing that's relevant, oh, and the other thing that's actually on the project list, BTA had that bicycle. I don't know if you remember. Is it one? I remember yeah. Cycle super hybrid, but also final things. Final thing in the VTA update is we gave an update in our last have it this year, but next year. Final draft of the out for comments. And your members, becoming. Don't know. Originally, they were supposed to. In or got taken out. Anyone have there are comments on each other.
Children taking the diets or spices. And like eating. One is road, road edge of a picnic. Very some travel, sometimes they're located in rainy season as bubbles. Airports.
No, there's asphalt on
I'm going to take a quick
No, I think
meeting agenda.